This skill won't just help you in basketball or even other sports, but for the rest of your life. This was one of the most valuable things that I learned in my experiences at PGC. We're gonna dive into an acronym that's incredibly valuable for your communication abilities. And that acronym is NITE, N-I-T-E. Each of those letters is gonna stand for a concept you can implement to become a more engaging and efficient communicator. So let's jump in, all right? NITE communication. The N stands for names, right? The most beautiful sound in any language. Dale Carnegie, leadership guru, he says the most beautiful sound in any language is the sound of someone's name. When you say someone's name, it gets their attention. Now here's the important thing, and if you're taking notes, right, this would be a great time for a star and put this into your notes. Use names before the instruction or information. Use names before the instruction or information. Let me give you a few examples of how that could play out on a basketball court. So let's say that my teammate Kyle is guarding a really good offensive rebounder. And let's say we're going back in transition, and let's say I give a reminder to my teammate, hey, remember to box him out. Okay, well, without a name, scenario one, does Kyle hear that information? Maybe, maybe not. I can't be positive. I can't guarantee he's going to hear that. That just, especially in a loud championship gym, that communication is going to get lost. Scenario two, let's say I'm transitioning back and I say, remember to box him out, Kyle. Well, what can I be sure that Kyle heard of that phrase? His name. You always hear your name. He heard Kyle, but did he hear the information before it? Probably not. Someone can be gossiping or whispering about you 3 rooms down and say your name. You're like, what? Right? You always hear your name. You know what I'm talking about. We have this uncanny ability to pick up our name. So third scenario, let's say I'm transitioning back and I say, Kyle, remember to box him out. Well, now of those 3 scenarios, can I be pretty certain that he heard the information? Probably so. Kyle got his attention and then I gave him that information. So use names first. Here's an example of Kobe using names first and clearly communicating a reminder to his teammate. All right, so the I in NITE stands for information. Similar, right? Information. You want to give that information. Name first, then information. So what kind of information could you give them? I'm going to talk about 3 things that I think cover almost 90% of anything you could say on court, right? The information you can give them. Number 1, say what you're doing. Say what you're doing, right? I'm on your right. I got your help side. Just say what you're doing or where you are, okay? Just say what you're doing. Number 2, say what your teammates should be doing, right? So, get over the top of the screen. Tell them what they should be doing. And then third, say what the opponent is doing, all right? So when you put all that together, it might look like, right? And remember, names first, right? Mark, screen coming to your right. Get over the top. I got help side. That's saying what you're doing, what the opponent's doing, what your teammates should be doing. And remember, names first, right? So information. Reminders is a great one in this one as well, right? Reminders. Remind your teammate before they need it. Remind them the screen is coming. Remind them they're on a great rebounder. Give them information. And we, I think, as American coaches, do the American basketball community a disservice because when you're little, what do we teach you to say when you're guarding the ball? Ball, 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 ball. Well, guess what? For everyone in the gym who's not legally blind, they can see you guarding the ball. So you should be saying, duh, 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 duh. Right? And when you're off the ball, we say, help, 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 help. Or I've heard, pistols, pistols, pistols. That's chatter. If you want to chatter, go play baseball or softball. No offense, baseball and softball players, but go, batta, 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 swing, batta, do that. That's fine. That's chatter. That's baseball, softball. In basketball, give relevant information. Relevant to what's happening on court. What are you doing? Where are you? What is your teammate should be doing? What's the opponent doing? And use names first. Here's going to be an example of PGC grad and now PGC director Lily Thompson when she played at Stanford. She's being subbed in, and she's going to use her teammate's nickname, EC. She's going to say, EC, go through, right? And then she's going to give another reminder for the team against the press. Check it out. All right. So great example of name and information giving reminders to her team. The T in night stands for, take a guess. All right, maybe you guessed talk, which would be weird and incorrect. Maybe you guessed tight, because, right? I don't know. Maybe you guessed tickle. All of those things are incorrect. The T stands for tone of voice, right? It's not what you say, but I know you just, how you said it. You did it. You did it. You finished my phrase, didn't you? Why? Because your mother used to say that. My mom used to say it to me all the time. I'd be like, all right, mother, how did I say that? Right? I hated it until I got into the basketball court and realized how important my tone was. Your teammates and coaches are going to respond more to how you say it than what you actually say. If my teammate, right, James, right, needs to be on the block for us to start a play, and I'm like, James, get on the block. What I actually just said to James in that tone is, James, you're an idiot. I hope you die on the way to the block. That is what my tone insinuated. And some of you are degrading your teammates consistently with your tone. Coaches and players, right? People are going to respond to how you say it more than what you say. And granted, you don't have to be Mickey Mouse, and it's not about being like this super duper, everything's perfect, fluffy, whatever. And I'm going to show you some clips here that I think a neutral tone, right, and even a firm, confident tone can be a positive tone. It's just about how you say it. Let's watch LeBron, because I think he strikes the balance right here of neutral without being negative, but it's loud and confident, and it's clear to his teammate. That's a loud championship game. He's yelling to his teammate, hey, what's the opponent doing? Screen, and what should his teammate do? Stay home. He's giving relevant information. And he projected, but it wasn't like you're an idiot in the way that many high school players communicate to their teammates. Let's take a look at another example of tone. Watch Rondo through the multiple clips. It's positive at times. It's neutral to me. I think neutral can be effective, right? It's encouraging.
To your right. Let's get, come on, here we go, come on. Hold up. How you step, Josh? You gotta step, come on. One shot, you got it. Come on. Hey, no more fouls. Hey, quick. They only got 2 scores here. Yeah. Lock in.
So he gives lots of information, gives reminders to his teammates, and all of it is, I think most of it was positive and neutral, right? Sometimes it's urgent, and it needs to be urgent in a game. It has to be heard, you have to project. But just realize how you're saying it, right? Matters just as much as what you say. The E in night, let's guess one last time. What might the E stand for? Could the E stand for elliptical? No, it doesn't. Could the E stand for ear? No, it doesn't. Who's a great communicator? An elephant? Incorrect. That was a strange guess. I don't know why that came to mind. The E is a part of your body. It is not your ear. It's your I'm kidding. It's actually your eye contact. It's your eye contact. It's important to have eye contact in communication. And I want you to imagine right now, and this is where you're going to stretch yourself here. Literally, you're going to be speaking to your computer or phone. I want you to imagine you're giving me directions. As you're giving me directions, imagine you're in your grocery store in your town, and you are going to give me directions from your grocery store to your house. And I want you to just watch me as you give me directions, okay? So, you tell me right and then left. Actually, no, let's do this. I've got my fellow director, Kyle, in here, and so you can hear. Kyle's gonna give me directions from his grocery store parking lot to his house. And I want you to just watch me. You can listen to the directions you want, but just watch me the whole time, and specifically watch my eyes. Okay, Kyle, go ahead and give me directions. You don't have to say exactly what street names. You don't have to say exact the distance, about a half mile, about 100 yards, left, right. Give them to me slowly. Go ahead.
Walk out my front door, and I get into my car, which is about 100 feet to the right of my front door. Then I get in my car. I drive 100 yards down West 5th Street. Then I'm going to take are you listening to me right now? I'm going to take a right on West 5th Street and drive about another 100 yards. Then I'm going to get out of my car and I'm going to walk in.
Okay, pause. So as a listener, all right, and you're looking at me as Kyle was, same direction Kyle's looking at me, do you feel confident that I could get from Kyle's house to the grocery store? Right? Probably not. And many of you do this in practice, right? Coach is talking, you look at him for a little while, and then I call it pinball eyes. It's like a pinball, pew, 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 right? You look at coach for a little bit, and then you're here, right? You probably wouldn't feel confident that I can get to a grocery store. Kyle, give me directions again. Just start in your driveway. Tell me how to get to a grocery store a little further away. Go ahead.
Pull out of the driveway and drive about a mile straight.
Okay.
And then after I drive a mile straight, take a left, and you're going to drive about 2 miles straight. Okay. And then you're going to pull into the parking lot. You're going to get out of your car. You're going to be at Trader Joe's.
All right. Now, how many of you felt a little more confident that I could get from Kyle's house to Trader Joe's? Okay. You probably felt way more confident in my ability to get to that. And here's the thing. Coaches are giving you direction. They're trying to get you to a destination as a team. Eye contact builds trust and confidence that you're going to get to that destination. Whether or not you can look somewhere and listen, we all have that ability. I know you can do that as a player or a coach. Coaches, I think you should give eye contact to players. And although you can look somewhere else and get all the information, the deliverer of the information is not going to feel confident. They're not going to feel trust that you are going to get to that destination. So eye contact is key to building trust. Coaches play players they trust. Yeah, they're going to play talented players, but in the end of the game, they're going to put in the players they trust, and eye contact builds trust. If you notice, one other thing I did is I gave Kyle a few head nods. When you understand something, give the communicator a head nod. Now, don't just head nod before you understand, right? Don't go into your season, your coach starts talking, and you're like, okay, they're going to think something's wrong with you. Don't head nod right away. Listen, and once you understand, give them a head nod. And that shows through body language and nonverbal communication that you're understanding and you're listening. We're going to watch 2 clips here. One is of Ronald Nored, who was the starting point guard on 2 of Butler's, the 2 Butler teams that made it to the national final. Interesting thing about Ronald, he's now an NBA assistant coach with the Charlotte Hornets as of date. And when Brad Stevens got the job with the Celtics, the 3rd person that he hired was Ronald Nored, a person who had no coaching experience in the NBA, and I believe at that point, maybe a year of coaching at the college level. Why did he hire Ronald? Well, first off, Ronald was an incredible leader, right, and implemented so much more than just communication. But Brad has so much trust in Ronald. Watch the trust, right, that Ronald built with his eye contact. The second clip is going to be of Nneka Ogwumike, #1 draft pick, now WNBA, player of the year, MVP at one point. She's at Stanford. Notice the eye contact and head nods she gives to her head coach. Let's watch some examples of eye contact.
Their last 13 shots to bust open the net.
They are playing very well, as we talked about earlier at strategic.
Over, you can't give up second shots. Key fundamentals. Control Connecticut runs. They double-digit spurt their opponent out of the building and then hit their soft spot. We talked about the youth of Connecticut in the post.
Hopefully, you've learned some things about communication. Hopefully, you can use night communication and use these tools to practice being a better communicator, not just in sports, but in everyday life. Great opportunity, practice on waitresses and waiters. Use their names. People love to hear their names. It'll make them feel more human. Final thought, I challenge my staff many of my staffs at PGC are college athletes or pro athletes, and so 4 or 5 years ago, we had 11 staff members, 10 of which played college basketball. So say, hey, we're gonna go into this Chili's the night before session starts, whatever the waitress's name is, we're going to practice night communication, and particularly names first. If you don't use the name first and have a positive tone and make eye contact, you got 25 push-ups for every time you don't use night communication. Everybody said, all right, I'm down. They all wanted to implement it into their habits. So we get in there. Waitress's name was Autumn. Never forget, between 13 people, we probably said Autumn 200 to 300 times that night. And we're leaving the restaurant. Staff works out first. I'm walking behind them, and I get a tap on my shoulder. And I turn around, and it's Autumn. And Autumn is crying. And my heart sank. I was like, oh my God, what did someone do? I said, Autumn, I'm so sorry, what happened? And she said, no. She said, I've been a server for 2 years, and that's the first time I felt like a human being. And all we did was just show her value by communicating with her name and with eye contact and with a positive tone. So it's not just something for sports. Change yourself as a communicator beyond the court or field.